Some time ago, I've written an article on the PWA experience on beta versions of iOS 12.2, and in this video, I want to share some of my findings with you. My name is Tom, and today's episode of Why Build Progressive Web Apps is focused on why now is a good time to start building progressive web apps for iOS. While PWAs work on iOS, they require the user and the developer to jump through a few extra hoops to get that installed full-screen experience. Luckily, with the latest betas of iOS 12.2, the situation has improved a fair bit. In this episode, I want to highlight some of the improvements that have been implemented and talk about still existing limitations. You can also read all the details in the linked article. Unfortunately, iOS doesn't support the before install prompt event and doesn't have an add to home screen prompt or banner like Android. However, iOS users have been able to use the Add to Home Screen button in Safari's share sheet for ages. Web App Manifest support is under development and only partially supported in Safari, which means for icons and splash screen, you still have to rely on the old-school Apple Web App Link relations Apple Touch Icon and Apple Touch Startup Image for app icons and splash screen. Or just use PWA Compat, a small library that reads the Web App Manifest and on iOS adds the right set of meta tags, creates the icons, and generates a splash screen image for you. In-scope and out-of-scope navigation works properly now, which means PWAs remember their previous state when restarted. Now, when you open an out-of-scope link, like the Office page in the Filicat sample app, it opens the page in a full-screen in-app browser, rather than kicking you out of the app completely. And you're right back in the app, where you were before. When you multitask away from a PWA, the state will be preserved when you return. Before, Safari would reload the PWA and lose the state entirely. It's not perfect, yet, and there is currently a short delay, but it is way better than it used to be. Apple has also introduced navigation swipe gestures, so now you can swipe back and forth from the left and right of the screen, just like in native applications. These gestures are still new and may not be obvious to everyone, so it definitely makes sense to show an in-app back button. You can detect if your app is running in standalone mode without URL bar at the top and without a button bar at the bottom by checking the proprietary navigator.standalone property. The standard display mode media query that you would use usually is not supported yet, but you can combine the two approaches in one call. Personally, I'm really excited about the new WebShare API, which makes it easy for PWAs to share content with other installed apps using the iOS share sheet. Twitter added this to their PWA, and I use it a lot. If there's a tweet I want to follow up with later, I share it with myself via email and can then respond to it later. In this episode, I focused on new PWA capabilities on iOS, and where there's still room for improvement, I'm extremely excited about the progress Apple has made in the latest betas. You can help Apple prioritize the features they work on by detailing your use cases and comments on the PWA-specific bugs that I've collected in my article. I hope to see you again in the next episode of Why Build Progressive Web Apps, where I will talk about offline analytics with Workbox.